the guitar scream. We're talking wrestling, living the dream. From Tokyo to London, across the globe, respecting the craft, we're in the know. No gimmicks or fakes, just pure passion and skill. The best talents from every wrestling hill. We dive deep into the stories behind the ring. Respecting the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft, respect the fight. We bring the band, we can't hide.
And we are live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 338, and I'm joined by my fellow broadcaster. He is the mind behind the Harry Terjanian talent agency. Harry Terjanian, what's going on, bro?
Ray, we're supposed to start this off on a professional level here on a good foot.
Was that not professional? I don't mind behind the Terjanian talent agency. I feel like that was very professional. I don't know.
Well, listen, you and everybody else is going to see how important the Terjanian talent agency is this Saturday at the Mount Olympus Rumble. There's a lot of stuff happening. It's going to be a fantastic show, but it's going to be a special night for the TTA for sure. And you and I are going to be doing the commentary as we always are. We don't always get along, but I will admit you're a great play-by-play guy. And Titan Championship Wrestling, I think, is one of the best independent companies out there today.
Agreed. And again, like you said, we might not always get along, but it's always a pleasure to call a show with you, at least when you're there, because there are times that you leave me at the commentary desk. And
listen, when you have a lot of jobs, you got to take care of a lot of business.
Understood. But speaking of business, we have the boss man himself in the chat, Mr. Billy Fetsky. What's going on, Billy? Hello. Here we go. We got the boss watching us there. So be on your best behavior, Harry. The boss.
I'm always on my best behavior. I'm always delivering the best entertainment. I'm always delivering the best knowledge, the best journalism.
That's questionable, but again, we're going to try to remain as cordial here as possible. Again, I want to be respectful because I'm glad you're here with me. The check again is in the mail, though. Have had to send it for both Michael Fain and Jack Martin, which again, thank you so much for allowing me to.
Those were great interviews.
Thank you.
Those were great. Those guys are getting, especially Jack Martin's he's coming so far. We've been doing media training, showing him how to do interviews, how to handle himself with the media, the wrestling media, always trying to stir some trouble. I saw you try to do it. And I thought Jack, the real talent, Jack Martin's handled himself phenomenally. So did Michael Fain. So
no,
they will both be part of the Mount Olympus Rumble, my friend, this Saturday.
They definitely will. Michael Fain having that coveted final entrance spot, which I can imagine for you, that's money right there because it basically could guarantee him the win. It guarantees him the win there. But again, it's a difficult field because there are a lot of great competitors that will be entering Mount Olympus this Saturday, including the NWA's own Wrecking Ball Legursky, who returns to Titan Championship Wrestling. You have Devout will be a part of it in our Mob Fight TV American champion, Dr. Sleep, Anthony Gangone. You have our current TCW middleweight champion, Aaron Roxas, in there. You have the debuting Steve Benya and so many more familiar faces.
And a lot of surprises. Everybody wants to be part of this event, the crown jewel of Titan Championship Wrestling every year, our biggest event. And not only that, that Mount Olympus Rumble match. A lot of independent companies try to pull this off. It's a very difficult thing to do. I got to call my very first one last year, and may I say they did a fantastic job. It was great. So if you've never had a chance to witness this live, that type of gauntlet battle royal, you should come out to Toms River, New Jersey, this Saturday, November 16th, at the St. Barbara Athletic Center in Toms River.
Definitely make your way because again, it is going to be insane to see. Harry, I got to talk to you about that because this will be my first time calling Mount Olympus. That experience, getting to call a match like that where there is, again, we know some of the names that will be there, but like the fans, we don't know who the surprises are. We don't know what to expect, who can make their way, who can make their return, who could possibly make their debut. One year we had current WWE ID prospect Marcus Mathers just make a surprise debut. for TCW in that Mount Olympus Rumble. So how's that feeling for you as one of the commentators and voices of Titan Championship Wrestling?
Well, I'll tell you this. I called my first one last year, and it's not an easy thing to do because at least when you have a one-on-one match, hopefully there's some time, there's a little bit of a, competitors one-on-one, you're going to take a moment or two to gather yourself, get some oxygen. That's enough time as you as a commentator can refer to your notes or you can refer to your knowledge. But when the more people you add to a match, the more difficult it becomes. And when you get, 10, 12 people in that match, the action is so fast and so furious that, it becomes a little hard and challenging. But the beauty is also on the other end, you get to see stuff you don't normally get to see, competitors, matchups you don't normally get to see, partners versus partners, brothers versus brothers, people attempting different style of strategies, the high flyers, what do they bring to this type of matchup? You get heavyweights versus lightweights. So, there's stuff you haven't seen before, which is the plus of calling a match like this. So, you sit back, and this is one of those where you sit back and enjoy the ride for most of it.
No, agreed. I can't wait again to get to call this. But again, along your side, which I hope we can be cordial again on Saturday. We've been cordial so far, so hopefully it stays that way. We're on the broadcast table on Saturday night. But before we continue here, we spoke about him. It is all-in-one Michael Fain saying the GOAT. Harry, good evening, Mr. Fain. We got Billy saying it again. You can see us. Yes, we will be there calling the action on Saturday night. We got Lonnie in the chat saying going to be amazing Saturday. It definitely will. Again, if you guys haven't already, make sure you get your tickets now by following the link in the description down below. That will get you to those amazing tickets, which if you haven't already, get them now because the special $10 deal will end this Friday night. So again, that is a steal for this show alone that features the amazing Rumble, the card we're about to talk about in a second, and so much more. You can get it for $10. Imagine
that's an insanely great price for an independent show. I mean, that's an insane for the value that we're bringing. I mean, where are you going to find in this day and age entertainment? Like, you can't even go to the movies for $10. You can't even go to the movies with a sticky floor and you don't know who's been sitting in that seat before you. Lord knows what's happened. Listen, I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of in a movie theater when I was a teenager. So look, $10, that's an amazing value. You're never going to get that type of deal again. So, I mean, and not just for any Titan show, but this one, and we're going to run down the card, but that Mount Olympus Rumble alone is worth that value because you're going to see stuff you've never seen before, competitors you don't get to see, and it's the most fun. You do the countdown and you wait, and it's the same thing. We don't know who's coming out next. A countdown is the most exciting thing. You just don't know who's going to walk through that door at any given point.
Again, you never know. You never know who from the Titan roster could step up or who from Titan itself, because we've seen a man I just had on the podcast not too long ago, SP Anderson, who is not a competitor. He has been a management figure. He is currently a manager for TCW and has stepped his way into that Rumble.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Maybe Harry decides to jump in there. Do you want to jump in there, Harry? Are you going to make your TCW wrestling debut this Saturday?
Listen, if that's what it takes to make the TTA have a fantastic evening, but honestly, there's no need for me to do that. I have two competitors as of now in this matchup. We're talking about the real talent, Jack Martins, and of course, the man, the one thing that we know about the Mount Olympus Rumble. Everything else, we have no clue what's going on. It's a random lottery drawing. We don't know who from Titan is going to be there. We don't know who outside of Titan is going to be there. So the only thing that we do know is that the Fain event himself, Michael Fain, will be the last entrant.
Yes.
That's all we know for sure.
Well, again, before we move on to the rest of the card here, I do have to ask you now, and I know for everyone in the comments, this is where they're going to start saying I'm stirring the pot, and I'm not. I just want to ask now, Harry, because I've gotten the question from both individuals involved in this question, which is, Harry, again, you mentioned both of your talents. You mentioned the real talent, Jack Martins, and you mentioned the Fain event, all-in-one Michael Fain. Michael, we know, is that last entrant. But let's say Jack Martins makes it all the way to the final few in there. Michael Fain makes his way. They're able to do their thing and eliminate everyone else. What happens then, Harry, when it's them two at the end? What happens then?
I'll let you know that we have a very specific plan of what we want to do, because that would be the best outcome a first and second place finish for the Terjanian Talent Agency. And it's a very likely thing. Both of those guys are fantastic athletes. Michael Fain's coming in last. We have the opportunity to do that. And we do have a game plan. But I'm not going to tell you or anybody else what that's going to be. Why would I do that? Would you ask Andy Reid what plays he's going to run right before they snap the ball, right before kickoff? No, he's not going to tell you. You'll find out just like everybody else will find out Saturday, November 16th. But believe you me, I'm no dummy. We've all sat down together. We've discussed it, and we know that what Jack and Michael Fain are going to do, it's going to be what's best for them, and it's going to be what's best for the Terjanian Talent Agency. Period.
Okay. Understood.
I know you've been fishing for weeks for an answer. That's the best answer you're going to get.
I see. Because again, it's getting me nowhere, but it's okay.
It's not nowhere. I gave you an answer. You don't like the answer. That's not my problem. But you did get an answer.
Okay, understood. We're gonna continue here. We're gonna try to keep this cordiality here because I already see again it's getting us back to square one. But we're gonna start with this matchup right here, as we're gonna talk about a showcase match of the lightweight division, as it will be the superstar striker himself, Robbie Romero, going head to head with Casey Lycan. Harry, you and I both have called matches with both of these men right here. Casey Lycan, unfortunately, has been on a losing streak as of late after his battles with the Deadly Sins, losing a man that he considered as close as a brother. And he's trying to find himself, it feels like. And Robbie Romero, he has that hope, it seems.
Well, this type of fight, you call it a showcase fight, and it's also, I call it an opportunity. Because, you got a tale of two different competitors. Robbie Romero, he's new to Titan. And, he's done a lot of impressive things in his short time here so far. Athletically, he's impressive. He's a two-sport athlete. He does lucha libre and boxing. He excels at both. And for him, this is about proving that he deserves to be in the mid-cards, the main event. He deserves to be highlighted here at Titan, right? So that's a big opportunity for him. On the other end, you have Casey Lycan, who's been with Titan for quite a while, and he's had a rough go of it, separating from his tag team partner, dealing with the Deadly Sins, and it's not been easy. And, this is an opportunity to regroup, reassess, try to close the year out strong, and maybe hope that 2025 will be a better go for somebody like Casey Lycan. But, you're taking on somebody who's young and hungry like Robbie Romero. It's a question of how hungry is he? And if he can overcome Casey Lycan, listen, who's been there before? He's performed at the Mount Olympus Rumble. He's competed. So it's just a question of which of them wants it more and who values it more. And, we'll see it, but it's going to be entertaining because I've been really impressed. Certainly, we all know what Casey Lycan can do for sure, but the superstar striker, Robbie Romero, he's been really impressive. He's been really, even in defeat, even watching Jack Martins take him on, he put on a valiant fight. And I can say that because Jack was victorious. So it's easy. It's easy for me to say, hey, he did a great job.
I was going to say, he did give, again, one of your talents a great showing out there. Jack Martins, yes, in the books, it goes down as a victory, but Robbie Romero also didn't go down without a swing.
He didn't go down without a fight, and there's no shame in coming up short to the real talent, Jack Martins.
Agreed. But again, we shall see what can happen here. Again, both of these men, it's that showcase and trying to, again, have that momentum for the Mount Olympus Rumble later on the night, as well as to be able to gain their spot in the lightweight division again, trying to get to the rankings to become possibly number one contender once more.
Well,
we shall see.
A great way to do it would be having a victory in a singles match at the Mount Olympus Rumble.
Definitely agreed there. And we will continue as we now go to a championship match just announced as of late. It will be a open challenge for the TCW middleweight championship as the divine infection himself of the devout current TCW middleweight champion, Aaron Roxas, defends. And now it leaves us with the who will step up, who will want to challenge a man that has just demolished every opponent, not even just physically. We've seen what he's able to do mentally to his opponents, what he's able to do to get into their psyche, what he's done to even fellow broadcasters' psyche. So it's a situation of what will happen this Saturday.
Well, Roxas is always trying to find a way to spread the message of the devout. He's taken on all comers, and you reach that point where now he's given an opportunity for someone to come out there, not just to either take that championship from him, but also maybe join maybe join along. He's always looking for more followers. Maybe this is an opportunity. You come out there, you display a great level of ability, but a fantastic mindset that he can recruit. So I think this is a brilliant strategy by Aaron Roxas to try to not just show how strong the Devout are, but also to recruit, to spread that message, which is always what Roxas, Gangone, and Amity LeVay are about.
Agreed. Again, we shall see. And that's the issue too with someone that decides to, if they decide to fight Aaron Roxas, if they decide, you know what, I want that championship, I want to move up in the rankings here at TCW. You have to think Amity LeVay, Dr. Sleep, Anthony Gangone, they're not too far away. So it's a situation of, is it wise to step up to a challenge like this? Or is it the easier to join before you fall?
Listen, if you want to make big things happen, you have to take advantage of big opportunities. They don't come along very often. You know, an open challenge for a championship, that's not available at every show. And so somebody is going to step up and take it. Whether they have the goods or not, that's a different story. But this is a big opportunity. An upset over an Aaron Roxas would be a phenomenal thing for a competitor for their resume.
At Mount Olympus, especially at Mount Olympus. It's one of our biggest shows of the year next to the anniversary event. It's one of those where it's like, this is make it or break it. These are the nights that we talk about in Titan history. Again, close to 5 years going here.
It's about making moments.
Look at that. We got Michael Faye again showing that love and support for Harry Terjanian, saying my guy.
You see that, Ray? That's what I'm talking about. You know, we're just, in the entertainment business. Yeah, it's show business, but the Terjanian Talent Agency, we're a close-knit unit. We're a family. We're a family. Michael Faye came out to watch me do some stand-up comedy the other week. We had a nice time. We took the ladies out for some drinks. It's a fantastic evening. You want to make sure your competitors are relaxed and prepared. Same thing with Jack Martin. When we were in Hoboken, we all took some, we had some publicity shots taken. We all went by the waterfront. I wanted them to see the vision of New York City so that they can just, in their heads, envision what it's like to be winners, because New York City is a place for winners. And that's part of the mindset we're bringing for the Mount Olympus Rumble. It's going to be a fantastic evening for the Terjanian Talent Agency, and you should be there for $10 a ticket. You better act now. I didn't even know that deal was going on, honestly. That's an insane deal. That is still going on. Again, you can get that till this Friday. Billy Fetsky needs his head examined for lowering the prices. He's been huffing too many fumes to give this show away for $10. But, his mental deficiencies are your gains. Okay, come out and see this show. It's a great $10 for an independent wrestling show. That's not coming around very often.
And again, a show like this, who doesn't love themselves a Rumble? Like any wrestling fan that wasn't drawn to the Royal Rumble. Everyone knows the history when it comes to that match. To now see what it does at a Titan level, to come here to Mount Olympus, again, you're not going to want to miss it. Again, for the steal of $10, the starting price $10. So it's a steal right there.
Act now, get those tickets. And you're talking about the Rumble. And like I said before, this is a very a fun event. We all grew up watching the Royal Rumble. I mean, it's to this day, it's still my favorite event, honestly, of the big four that they put on up there. I say up there, like it's still New York. Up there in New York, they still put on.
It's always gonna be New York to us.
New York, brother. Ever since it was on WOR Channel 9. I go old school. But my point is this: it's a fantastic and a fun event, and as I mentioned before, a lot of independent companies attempt to do this, and they don't all pull them off. I've been at some companies where it's been at different levels, from some good shows to some disastrous ones. Titan manages to put on a great show for this type of match, especially, which is a difficult thing to pull off from a production standpoint, by the way. Definitely. Let alone for the competitors and members of the roster. And again, you're going to see people from Titan. You're going to see people who've never been at Titan before. This is their opportunity. You might see some former WWE TNA Hall of Famers.
You never know.
You don't know. I know we have a former WWE star who's going to be competing in the main event or in the championship match, which we'll get to.
Who says he doesn't decide to do both? You never know, because we've had the champion step into Mount Olympus. You never know what could happen.
Everybody wants to win that match. They want to be crowned Mr. Mount Olympus.
There you go. Or Mrs. You never know.
You're right. That's a good point. That's a good point, Ray.
You never know what could happen, because we have the Goddesses of War division. You never know who could make their way. But we're going to have some breaking news here from the boss man himself saying 2 spots open in Mount Olympus recently. 1 has been taken, but there is 1 more spot open. Who wants it? Who's going to message me with that fire to take that spot remains to be seen. But look at that.
See, this is what I'm talking about. You don't know. Leading up to this event, schedules change, cards subject to change. I mean, last year there are so many people debuting from Progress who made their first attempt. People from the NWA, Wrecking Ball Legursky was in the final 4.
Yep.
I believe he might have been in the final 2. I don't want to, but I know he was in the final 4 for sure. Yeah. NWA star. So you never know what you're going to see, and it's going to you just know that it's going to be phenomenal.
Again, you never know. You never know who can make their way, who's in the area. You never know. Again, we're in Toms River, New Jersey. There's a lot of great talent that's in the tri-state area. You never know who can make their way to Titan Championship Wrestling. Everyone's hungry. You never know. You never know. But there we go. We got Michael Fain saying $10 for fans to witness the Fain event. What a steal. Again, the Fain event it's a real life situation here. He will be a part of Mount Olympus making that final entrant.
Yeah.
We shall see.
And listen, for $10 to witness history in the making, the what is going to be the premier event for the Terjanian Talent Agency.
Well,
for our coming out party, so to speak. It's going to be a fantastic night for us. So you want to be there for history, not just for the Mount Olympus Rumble match, for the heavyweight championship, for all the titles will be defended that night. The tag team titles will be on the line. I mean, there's so much action going on. $10 to witness history and to witness the Terjanian Talent Agency make a big, big splash. And I guarantee we're going to make a big splash.
That worries me a bit, but we're gonna continue here. We're gonna talk about, you just mentioned it there, those TCW tag team championships will be on the line in a triple threat tag team match because we have new TCW tag team champions, the Social Influence, with fellow broadcaster Samira taking on former champions, the Deadly Sins, and the team of the Audacity here. Harry, I feel like you have a little bit of maybe not, you weren't a part of the actual match, but you have some hands in the decision at our last event, Savage Intentions, because Jack Martin's filling in for Blocks at Savage Intentions, and now we have new tag team champions.
Well, look, here's a situation that happened, and it was not my intention going into that event to make that happen, but when an opportunity opened up, I did what I do best, which is I start wheeling and I start dealing. Look, the Deadly Sins, they've been having some issues. They were supposed to defend their championships against Social Influence. Yep. Blocks doesn't show up. He doesn't show up. And then we get word that either he hit a deer. I don't know. He hit a deer. I don't know if he hit a clown's mouth on the way to the fast food. I don't know what he did. Okay. I don't know. He ran over a skunk for all I know, but he wasn't there. Okay. I heard he got he got a DWS, which is driving while stupid. I don't know. That's just what I heard.
Okay.
That's just what I heard. But one way or another, he didn't show. Frankie Picard comes up to me. He's brilliant. He says, hey, Harry, is there some way, I'm looking for a partner. Is there something you can do? Is there something? I stepped up to Frankie. I said, I have the perfect idea. I have the perfect replacement for Blocks. Let's talk about Jack Martin's the real talent. I pieced them together, and you know what? They operated as a unit very well. They operated very well as a unit until, Frankie's how do we put this? His ego, for lack of a better word, got the best of him. And listen, I understand why Frankie Picard has an ego. He's a 2-sport champion. Okay, he's the leader of the Deadly Sins. They have dominated as a tag team unit, him and Blocks, the Titan Championship Wrestling. They're the tag division for almost a year. And I get why he has an ego, but unfortunately it didn't work out with him and Jack. And I wasn't thrilled about that. But listen, business is business. I have a lot of respect for Frankie. He ended up losing the championship. It could have been a night where, Jack Martins could have been one half of the tag team champions. It would have been our first championship for the TTA. And it would have been very exciting for everybody involved. It didn't work out that way. And I wish Frankie well. And now I guess maybe he and Blocks have had some type of a reunion here because, they are in this triple threat tag team match. And so they're hoping to regain their championship. Social Influence, as much as they annoy the hell out of me, they took advantage of this situation. They ended up being champions. Now it's up to them to prove if they can hold on to that championship. Winning a championship, yeah, that's hard, but it's even harder to retain the championship. That's the most difficult part, is when people start coming after you. And now they have two teams. Not only do they have the former champions, the Deadly Sins, Frankie Picard and Blocks, who I hope have patched it together. I hope that Blocks has taken a breathalyzer or whatever. I don't know. I hope he's got the right frame of mind on him when he shows up. He's certainly got a lot of talent. I've never disputed that. If he could get his head in the game, not leave his partner behind, maybe they could regain those championships. But they're also going to have to do it against a third tag team, the Audacity. And they have been one of the better tag teams on the independent scene up here in New York City.
Agreed. No, they definitely have. And it's a situation where, Harry, again, I like to remain as unbiased as possible, but we have to look back at guerrilla warfare, where it seemed the Audacity were nearly moments away of becoming the new TCW champions back then, where we started to see those cracks in the fold of the Deadly Sins.
Well, look, that was an impressive performance. I mean, they really did. It's no, the fact that they came up short, that's no shade on the Audacity. That just speaks to the level of competition that you have in that tag team division. It also speaks to how strong of a tag team the Deadly Sins are when they're operating at a full capacity. When Blocks has his head in the game is really what I'm talking about.
Well, it feels like they're both in a situation here where they can't put it together. They can't agree on things. They're both making decisions without consulting the other. Even that decision, apparently Blocks tried to make his communication to Frankie. Frankie would not respond. And Frankie decided to have that conversation with you to make this deal. Before we continue here, I want to acknowledge we got the good brother Josh Alba in the chat.
Love Josh Alba.
Combining our names there to say hooray.
Hooray, there we go.
We got Josh saying unbiased, this fucking come on, man. Come on. Like I am an unbiased broadcaster here. Yeah. But as we continue that, I had the Deadly Sins on the podcast a few weeks ago, and speaking to them about this, it feels like they're putting on a bit of a facade. They're trying to make us seem that they are together, that they are cohesive. And I feel like that's not the case here. I feel like we're seeing that just, unfortunately, one of the most dominant factions that has now been down to a duo. I think we're seeing the end of days of the Deadly Sins.
Well, look, listen, teams, there is a lifespan to a team, to a relationship, friendships, whatever you call them, or however you view it. There is a lifespan. And it would be a real shame, as far as I'm concerned, for the Deadly Sins, for this to be it for them, because what they have done has been so impressive to me over the last year and a half that I've been part of Titan. I've watched them. I mean, and the things that Block has done as a competitor, I don't know that, he's only been in the business a couple years. I don't know that you can name many people who have progressed as quickly as Blocks has. So it would be a shame for them to fall apart. I hope they can reach it together. Listen, brothers fight. I just hope I know Frankie, sometimes his ego gets the best of him, but when he's on his game, he's unstoppable. Same thing with Blocks. I don't know what happened to Blocks last time. I heard that he followed a GPS and drove into a lake by mistake. There's a lot of rumors going around that locker room. I don't know which ones are true, which ones are not. I'm just here as a journalist to let you know what I'm hearing. Of
course. So I do have to ask you this though, Harry, because like we said, talking about this situation, talking about everything that's gone on, so did you give them a refund on this investment of theirs? Because unfortunately, Jack didn't do his end of the deal.
Well, that's where you and I disagree. I think Jack did deliver on his end of the deal. I think it's unfortunately Frankie's mentality, his control issues have gotten the best of him, his personality issues at time. And I say that with all due respect. Some of the greatest stars have egos. Some of the best, you're talking about Deion Sanders was a guy who had a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal ego.
Yeah.
And sometimes that comes with the territory. You're talking about a 2-sport champion, Frankie Picard, who's one of the finest boxers I know. I have even said this. I think Frankie Picard is better than Muhammad Ali as a boxer. You're giving me a little bit of a, you're giving me a face there, Ray. Let me ask you this. Frankie Picard versus Muhammad Ali today, who wins that fight?
How are you going to ask me today?
Today, right now, Muhammad Ali versus Frankie Picard. Who wins that fight?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one and move on. because
Okay.
we still have
A lot of
great
people go, "Oh,
matches.
Muhammad Ali, he's passed away." Excuses, excuses. It's
I-
Frankie Picard.
I'm gonna continue here as we have the TCW Light Heavyweight Championship on the line, as it will be the Man of the Year, Andre Polino, defending against Justin Bon Jovi. Harry, your thoughts on this one, because we've seen that rise here of Justin Bon Jovi, who's found his way now, it feels, with Mr. James. Your thoughts on this one?
Well, look, I don't love the idea that he's, has Mr. James as his role model or his guidance counselor, so to speak. But I'll say I've been impressed with how he has elevated his wrestling ability. His performance in the ring has been growing each and every time. The results aren't always what you want or what Bon Jovi would have liked. There's been a couple times he's come up short in, the lightweight title matches or number one contenders matches. But I think he's finally got a great rhythm going. And, it's all about the right place at the right time, getting hot at the right time. And this could be the right time for Justin Bon Jovi leading up to the Mount Olympus Rumble. For some, you talk about athletes, for some players, the experience matters. Going to the finals and coming up short, yeah, that stings, but it gives you the experience of being in the finals, so you're better prepared this time around. And for Bon Jovi, that could be a big game changer. That could be the slight advantage that he might need. Get those nerves, get those cobwebs out of there, and he's going to need it, because Andre Polino is another competitor who I've been really impressed with. He has added so much to his repertoire, his arsenal. His striking ability has become so much crisper, so dangerous, and that's why he's light heavyweight champion. So you're talking about two guys who really have taken the opportunities that Titan has given them and elevated their games, and that's why they find themselves. And I think this could be the match that might steal the show, because I always love that light heavyweight division. It's not always the easiest. They're not always the easiest matches to call, because the action is so fast and so quick, but they're usually the most entertaining. And Andre Polino, he's the champion now. He's had a couple title defenses at this point under his belt. And again, you talk about getting that repetition. He knows what it takes to remain a champion. So, I think Polino might have the advantage here, but Bon Jovi is so good, especially the last two shows, that this could be a massive upset. We could see a new champion.
My situation with this is, we talk about the alliance between Justin Bon Jovi and Mr. James. Him even telling Mr. James at our previous event, Savage Intentions, to stay in the back. He wanted to do this on his own accord. He wanted to be able to do and be able to earn this opportunity, which he then does. But then we know that alliance, that's been maybe on a rough patch, but it's been successful. We now look at Andre Polino, which, again, doing my own due diligence as a journalist, I've tried to get a word with Andre, and every time I try to get to speak with him before the event, he keeps talking to this cousin of his on the phone. I don't know if you heard about this, Harry. I've tried to tell you on commentary. You kind of blow me off when I ask you. But now that we're here, do you know who this just cousin of his is? Do you know who they are and why they're making Andre do these devious things that he's done? Because this is not the Andre Polino we saw earn his opportunity at TCW over a year ago.
Well, Ray, to answer your question, when you win a championship, you realize how hard it is, as I mentioned before, to maintain the championship status.
Yeah.
To defend your championship successfully, it's very difficult. You see a lot of these one-off champions. They win a championship and then they don't hold on to it. You're talking about your James Buster Douglases. If you're talking about history, a guy who defeated Mike Tyson and immediately just went downhill from there, right? You're a world heavyweight champion. No one will take that away from you. But you realize how difficult it is, my point is. And Andre Polino, you get advice anywhere you can and whatever works best for you. And so far, whatever advice this cousin must be giving him, it must be working, because he continues to retain his championship show after show. And that's all that matters to Andre Polino. He worked so hard to get this championship, and he's not going to make it easy to take it away from him. And you take advice anywhere you can. And listen, I'm Latino, you're Latino. Let's be honest, Ray. Do you know any Dominican guys who don't talk to their cousins all day long? How many cousins they have? They're all talking to their cousins. Your cousins got to say. Everybody's got to say. The second you win a championship, everybody's on board. You hear from cousins you never knew you had. And he
This is
just
true.
happens to have a cousin who's giving him good advice. That's all.
I don't know if it's good advice, but again, we will agree to disagree there. Want to acknowledge this comment before Michael Fain sends you a message. Michael Fain saying Jack delivered Ray unbiased. My ass.
Yeah, exactly. Jack delivered his end. I think he did especially for short notice.
Yeah.
To step in the ring. Which kids always bring your gear. Always bring your gear.
Agreed.
Always be ready. And that's something I taught Jack, to be ready. And for stepping in on short notice, I think Jack Martins did a fantastic job. He's a singles competitor who stepped into a big spotlight, a tag team championship match. And for a minute there, it looked like he was going to win his first championship here at Titan. And I think it was, unfortunately, Frankie's mentality at the time that made it difficult. And again, a lot of respect to Frankie. He's got a lot going on. Two-sport athlete. He just didn't have it that night. But it's who you align yourself with. And Jack's influence for me has already taken it. Look, a year ago, he didn't even have an opportunity at a championship. And now all of a sudden he has his first championship match under his belt. And it's all who you align yourself. And look, Andre Polino, he's aligning himself with some cousins who are giving him the advice that he might need. Justin Bon Jovi, he's aligning himself with Mr. James, who I don't think is the wisest decision. Because
Come
Mr.
on,
James,
Harry. I know it more than anyone. That's your favorite teacher right there. Come on. You don't have to put on the facade here. We're having a good time. Come on, Harry.
I wouldn't take advice. I wouldn't take advice from Mr. James about anything. I wouldn't ask Mr. James to give me the address to his own house. Okay? So my point, Mr. James, look, and he's a phenomenal athlete. I'll give him credit.
Yeah.
But if you look at his win-loss record, it's not the best, and I'll tell you why. He is so focused on entertaining these fans and making the kids in the crowd happy and making their parents happy and all this crap. That's not what you need to be a champion. And I think Justin Bon Jovi was right, and he was proven right by leaving Mr. James in the back. Let him go, do some dittos, read some textbooks, play with your stickers in the back, because men have to do work in that ring. And Bon Jovi came out on top, #1 contender. It speaks for itself, and I think this might be his night, as long as you don't listen to Mr. James.
Well, we're gonna go back to one of your talents here. We're gonna talk about the real talent himself, Jack Martins, as it's going to be former friends colliding here as Jack Martins with, it looks like, I guess you're going to be in his corner. So I guess I'll be calling this one on my own. Figures.
I'm sorry, Ray, for one match, you'll have to do without my services. Hopefully you'll survive and I don't come back to the commentary table up in flames. But I will be in Jack Martin's corner.
Yes.
Because this is a personal matter for Jack. He's taken on his former friend who just doesn't get the message that, as I mentioned before, friendships, partnerships, they sometimes run their course. And that's okay. Every once in a while, a friend outgrows another friend and you move on. It's just a way of life. But Cheney's unwilling to accept that. He wants to rekindle the old days. And I get it. I get why you want to hang around Jack Martins. He's a fantastic guy. That's why I signed him. But you're going to have to learn, Tony, that life changes and you have to move on. Go hang out with one of your cousins. We're talking about cousins. Tony Cheney, hang out with one of those cousins you see Sunday for lasagna dinner. No, Lord knows you can't even go to the bathroom without 5 of them coming along with you. Hang out with them. Or hang out with your girlfriend. I thought that was the whole point of having a girlfriend, Cheney. She'll be there. You can cry to her on her shoulder when Jack Martins finishes his business with you and he can finally move on and focus on the Mount Olympus Rumble and focus on his future with the Terjanian Talent Agency.
See, this is exactly why I wanted you to take this one, because, again, bringing up Francesca, who is also just going to be there to support Tony Cheney on Saturday night, but you continue to do that. This is why, again, your method sometimes, it's why I say the things I do about you, because why do you need to continuously do that? I heard what you said even in your comments before we had this conversation here, saying now you're looking to scout her as well. Why poke the bear here and try to do these things to Tony?
I just say what's true. I'm not lying. Look, I've heard she's a phenomenal competitor herself. So, the Terjanian Talent Agency.
Oh, you don't even know the name of your own agency now. Wow.
Listen, I've said it so many times and it sounds so great because there's so much going on in this card. There's not just the Mount Olympus Rumble. The TTA is going to have a phenomenal night. This is a big night for us. This is going to be our launching pad for 2025. And part of that involves ending the year by getting rid of old business, shunning out with the old and in with the new. and sometimes that hurts people's feelings. Francesca Chini, I heard she's a phenomenal talent. We're always looking for new talent. I'm just stating that to Tony, like, hey, learn from this thing with Jack Martins. Enjoy her while you can. That's all. I'm just giving you life lessons, Tony, and that's a free one. You're not even under my tutelage, and I'm just letting you know, hey, just enjoy life while you can, because it's always changing, and it's not for the better for everybody. It is for Jack Martins. It is for Michael Fain, and it is for Harry Terjanian, the owner and president of the Terjanian Talent Agency.
Well, then we got Michael Fain saying Jack for the win. We got Robbie Romero in the chat saying, I don't like Jack.
I wouldn't like Jack either if he knocked me out and pinned me 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, Robbie. I'm sorry that, we had to go right through you.
We got Michael Fain then saying Tony Cini has been holding Jack Martins back for the longest time. And then look at that. Speak of the devil himself. We got Jack Martin saying Michael Fain speaking facts.
There you go.
Good evening,
it's
Jack.
Right there from Jack Martins. Everyone acts like what I do is I brainwash people. Listen, I can't make anyone do anything they don't want to do. All I do is present somebody with an opportunity, and it's up to them to take it. And Jack Martins realized that signing with the TTA could elevate his career, and it already has. He's already doing much better than he was before, and the future is so bright for the real talent, Jack Martins. And Michael Fain is going to be rooting for him as well. We're one big family, Ray. That's how it works.
Okay. I still, like I told Jack Martins when I had him on here, it's a situation of, I told him to his face, he is a great prospect. He is going to be, there's big things in the future for Jack Martins. That is without argue, no matter how we look at it. However, does he really need you? Because again, I have to ask you, what is this about the 10%? Why are you taking 10% away from these great athletes here, these great talents?
Well, let me tell you something, Ray. 10% is the standard percentage that a manager or agent would get for their services. You talk about all these Hollywood stars. You got your Tom Cruise, your Brad Pitt. Yeah, they've got some talent. They got some good look. They've got good looks. But who do you think makes all that happen? Who do you think gets them the right scripts? Who do you think fixes their teeth? Who do you think gets them the proper haircut, gives them the right image, and takes them to another level? Who do you think gets them the little small part that you can build on? That's a talent. That's a manager. That's an agent. They make that happen. You talk about what? 10%. It's an investment for your future. 10% for what I do. Look at the last show. Jack Martins ended up almost becoming a tag team champion here at Titan. That was my doing. And yeah, he came up short. But guess what? Without me being involved, he wouldn't have had that opportunity. And he knows that, and he's appreciated it. He said it to me backstage. We hugged. I had to talk him down. He was furious, but he understands that there's going to be bigger opportunities. There's going to be bigger paydays because he's already seen what I can do for him. Same thing with Michael Fain. I'm getting him endorsement deals. I'm getting him contracts where he can make other sources of income. You got to think outside the box. That's what I bring to the table. And 10%, that's a small amount of money, Ray. It's an investment in yourself.
Again, it's just, I had to ask, but again, I see that I guess it's offended Jack Martins here because he's telling me to watch my mouth. Okay, my apologies. Again,
you're trying to stir stuff up, Ray. You're trying to stir stuff up.
I'm just doing what the Titan Nation wants, and that is asking the right questions here. That's all I'm doing.
You can ask. I answered.
There you go. See, so we're good. You
may not like the answer, but I answered.
You might not like the questions, unfortunately. There we go. We got Slick NYC saying great question. Thank you, Slick. See, look at that. Look at that. Appreciating the questions here. See, that's what we need here. But as we continue here, hold on, let's see. Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate it. I'm fine. I'm just doing, again, my journalistic duties here. We got Michael Fain saying Ray with his biased questions. Ray, you need to. Wow. I can't.
You're angering a lot of people here.
This is part of my job, is to ask the question. This is what I do as a journalist, to be able to make sure the Titan Nation is ready for this Saturday, to be able to be ready for Mount Olympus. Again, which if you haven't already, make sure you get your tickets now. So again, my apologies to you gentlemen if you were offended. I still have to continue to do my job here, which brings us to this next matchup, as it will be for the TCW Goddesses of War Championship in a street fight, as we will see the Devout's own Amity LeVay defending against the Cotton Candy Princess, Tiffany Avatar. And Harry, we've seen this just brutal saga here between the Devout and Tiffany Avatar, what led to the tag team war, the just brutal effects of what the Devout can do, no matter how many opponents are in front of them. It leads us to a street fight here. So, Harry, your thoughts on this?
When these rivalries get so personal, it's about championship gold and how much that means, but it goes beyond that. It's everything that you sacrifice and you put on hold in your life to make those dreams come true. And all these competitors know about that. They've, plenty of them have missed birthdays, you miss holidays, you miss Saturday nights out with your partner. And you do that all so you can achieve something. And for Tiffany Avatar, that was taken away from her by Amity LeVay. And it stings, and it hurts, and it's been difficult for her to move past that. And this is the only way to settle something so personal, something so hurtful, by causing literal hurt in a goddess's street fight. Because we've had these matches get very contemptuous, very intense. We might as well go all the way with it. Let's step on the gas. Let's throw the rule book out the window.
Yeah.
And if you want to fight, settle this, and we're going to settle it with the goddess's street fight. And maybe we'll settle this once and for all.
That is the question, though. Will this be settled here? Will we get a finale to this song? Will we get a definite winner here? Because for Tiffany Avatar, it's hard for me to believe, will she be ready for this type of situation? I know Amity LeVay has no issue with doing whatever it takes. We've seen what she did when a match was over, using the dreaded mist, trying to blind Tiffany Avatar. That took her out of guerrilla warfare. She could not compete on that night. She would not be medically cleared due to that dreaded mist. And it's a situation now there's no rules. What does this stop the Devout from doing what they do best? What will Tiffany Avatar have to do here? Is she going to be able to break the rules here? Which there are no rules, but you get my
well, what you're talking about, Ray, is not the literal rules of the match, because you're right. There are no rules. Anything goes until you get the pinfall or submission.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is the rules of morality.
Yes.
How does she have, being the cotton candy princess, how much intensity does she have? How far is she willing to go? Because you're stepping into the environment that Amity LeVay thrives in. This woman thrives in chaos. She was born in chaos. She was raised in chaos. This is what she loves more than anything else. And this is how much Tiffany Avatar wants to have this championship back, that she is willing to go to this level. It's just a question of how deep can she swim in this? How far can she go? Is she willing to get violent? Is she willing to get crazy? And she's going to have to if she wants to beat Amity LeVay.
Again, we shall see. This is going to be an interesting one.
You don't see, and it's interesting because you're going to find out a lot about Tiffany Avatar from this. This is one of those moments where you learn about yourself in that type of contest. For her, this is something she hasn't done before. And is she going to be able to have a different side of her step up and get the revenge for everything that has been taken away from her?
Agreed.
We'll see.
We shall see. But with that being said, again, right there, that could be it. We could end off, again, especially with the deal for $10. That could be a great card right there. But Harry, we still have one more match to go. That is going to be for the TCW and Funhouse Heavyweight Championship, as it will be defending champion PJ Savage defending against former WWE and current NWA star Mike Mondo. The history with this man right here, Mike Mondo, who has trained many competitors that have made their way, especially here in the tri-state area. And we talk about that. Everyone knows the Spirit Squad, the history there in the WWE, what he's currently doing right now in the NWA and the independent circuit. This is going to be a challenge here for our current reigning and defending TCW heavyweight champion, PJ Savage, who is now, he's on his way at a year. He is at a full calendar year as TCW and Funhouse champion, looking to break the record here. Can he continue that streak?
Well, for PJ Savage, PJ has taken on, he's been a fighting champion. He promised to be a fighting champion, and he's done that. He's taken on all comers. He's taken on a lot of opponents in various styles, sizes. I mean, he's taken on some of the biggest and baddest you can find on the independent scene. He's overcome that. He's taken on personal demons with people who he's been friends with in Jocko, the last title defense. He's taken on personal competitors, rivalries that go years back. We're talking about Jay Bougie. Everybody who's stepped up, he's managed to take him down, various levels of experience. But when you're talking about Mike Mondo, this is going to be the most seasoned competitor that PJ Savage has ever taken on. This is going to be one of the few competitors that has more experience than PJ and also has the size to back it up as well. Let's not forget about that. And Mike Mondo, he has the skills. This is going to be a true challenge for PJ. Like I said, nobody he has wrestled before has this level of experience that Mike Mondo brings to the table. He knows every trick you can think of. And that's going to be where PJ has to rise to the occasion here. Figure out if he can handle this, if he can overcome the mindset of somebody who has the wrestling acumen of a Mike Mondo.
Agreed. And again, we've seen the who's who that has gone ahead and faced PJ Savage. The Brooklyn Outlaw Donovans, the Joey Conways. We've seen Jeff Noyes go toe-to-toe with him in that war. And now we get here to Mike Mondo. And again, it's a situation of we might see a new champion here. I know PJ is not going to go out without a fight. Look what he did to his own brother at Savage Intentions. The war we just saw him go through with Jocko. It's
but the other thing you ask yourself, he's been on this over a year at this point, this title run, this Defense of Savage era. He takes on all comers, but how much does that take out of him, both physically and mentally?
Agreed.
Over a year of that, just the exhaustion of preparing for these contests. It's not just what you do in the ring that night, but how much preparation you go through, watching tapes, scouting your opponents, coming up with strategies, figuring out what you have to do, because it is not easy to hold on to that championship. To do it for over a year, I applaud him for that, because that ain't easy. But it also takes a toll, and this might be the right time and the right opportunity for Mike Mondo to come in here and just take that championship. And for Mike Mondo, look, he's not done in this business. You reach a certain point when you're a veteran where you become a little resentful of the younger guys who may not remember everything you've done. They may not understand how much you've contributed. And then you reach a point where you go, hey, I still got it, bro. I'm still here. And make no mistake about it, Mike Mondo is here for a reason. It's to win that championship.
Agreed. Again, we shall see where that goes. And look at that. We got our good old pal SP in the chat questioning again, me being biased and saying, just be glad you got 50 minutes, Harry. Well, the interview continues, SP. If he doesn't say anything controversial like you have, because I guess we can bring that up as well. Harry announcing Blaze Haram will be entering the Mount Olympus Rumble.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
Yeah, I don't know how fond TCW Nation is going to be of seeing the dreaded Blaze Haram after everything that he's done in the past at Titan Championship Wrestling. Yeah.
Well, look, you can recap that history a little bit for those people who don't remember. I will say this, SP Anderson, I feel for the guy. I mean, unfortunately he wasn't there for the last event, Savage Intentions, and Big Jeff Noyes. Now, on the one hand, I feel bad for SP Anderson, but on the other hand, I think we can all truly appreciate the things that we didn't realize he was doing, because Big Jeff Noyes is a hell of a competitor, but clearly we can see without SP Anderson's guidance, he had no self-control. We didn't realize how much SP was controlling that beast, that monster, that mammoth. And it's when he harnesses it properly, he almost won the heavyweight championship. And that was under SP Anderson's guidance. If you can harness that madness properly. And guess what? SP was able to do it. And unfortunately, SP had some business matters that he couldn't attend Savage Intentions. And Big Jeff Noyes goes out, and unfortunately, he loses his sense of control and gets himself suspended by the general manager, Monster Mac, for his actions post-match. And it's a real shame. And I feel for SP Anderson, and at least this is something he can do while we're trying to figure out the situation here with Big Jeff Noyes and trying to get him reinstated. But I think bringing Blaze Haram into this that's a big deal for the Mount Olympus Rumble.
It is. It definitely is. And look at that. SP now bringing up that he got 28 minutes. Yes, you got 28 minutes. Wouldn't want to be controversial. He's not been. He's not been. Yes, Blaze Haram, a former Mob Fi American champion. Finally, someone that understands. Oh, now you and Harry are going to be buddies, I guess.
Well, listen, I have respect for what SP does. It's what being a manager isn't easy. Being a manager, being a talent agent, that's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of dirty work that has to be done. Creating somebody who ends up being a champion, people forget about the trainers, the promoters, the people behind the scenes who make it happen. It's a lot of work, and not everyone appreciates it. So from one manager to another, I respect what SP Anderson has to do, and it ain't easy. It's a thankless job at a lot of points. Certainly, you're not thanking anybody, Ray. So we're not getting the thank yous from you, but we know what we have to do to win. So I can respect what SP Anderson has done here. And listen, SP doesn't sit around. Thank you. Justice for SP Anderson. Michael Fain's all about it. And listen, they might get the justice. I've recommended a couple of attorneys, entertainment attorneys who specialize in this type of thing. So
attorneys for what?
Well, he's got to try to get Big Jeff Noyes reinstated.
Did you not see what he did at Savage Intentions, though?
No one is arguing, Ray.
If we see Daniel Alexander even compete this Saturday.
Look, I feel bad for Daniel Alexander. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And no one is debating here, Ray, what what Big Jeff Noyes did.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be suspended, but it's a question of how long hasn't the man paid his penance? I mean, missing the Mount Olympus Rumble, that is rough. That is punishment enough. This is something that people strive for. They work hard all year for. And unfortunately, Big Jeff Noyes won't be a part of it. And that's a big deal. Because guess what? He would have been one of the favorites to win this thing.
That I can't argue with. That I would agree. That is definitely one of the favorites there. But look at that. See, Michael Fain saying it there. I mean, I'm not mad he got suspended because that's one less man to worry about.
Look, I get what Michael Fain is saying. This is business interests. Do I benefit from Big Jeff Noyes being out of this Rumble? Absolutely, I do. That doesn't mean I don't feel bad for SP Anderson. Just because you get knocked down in the first round doesn't mean I don't respect you. My goal is still to win the championship. Yeah, it's beneficial that Big Jeff Noyes isn't there for us, but that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve to be there. And listen, let's think about poor SP Anderson. What did he do? He's being punished. One of his talents is not going to be part of the Mount Olympus Rumble. That means that Big Jeff Noyes won't get to. That means that SP Anderson doesn't get to be part of the Mount Olympus Rumble. But that's the brilliance of somebody like SP. He has found a way, and bringing in Blaze Haram is a way to get himself back involved, and he doesn't deserve to be punished. He hasn't done anything wrong, SP Anderson. So, I wish him well. Our business interests are going to conflict. That happens in business because, I have two competitors in there, and at the end of the day, Michael Fain is the last competitor. And look, that's a virtual lock that he wins the whole thing. I'm not saying he's just going to walk through it, but he is literally going to walk to the ring at the end where everyone is tired and they've done all the dirty work. But that's the brilliance of being somebody like the Fain event, Michael Fain. The Fain attraction is going to be him winning the Mount Olympus Rumble. And we have a 1-2 finish, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Jack Martins.
Well, then we shall see. We shall see. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you get your tickets now. If you haven't already, make sure as well you are following TCW on all of its social media. That's going to be Titan Championship Wrestling on Instagram. Follow Titan on X right there at Titan Champions 1. Links will also be in the description down below. Also, make sure you are following Harry on his social media right there. Harry Terjanian on Instagram, at Harry Terjanian on X right there. Make sure you stay up to date so you can see all things Terjanian Talent Agency and so much more.
Yeah, and you can see all my stand-up clips. I'm still doing stand-up comedy, and it's going phenomenal. That all my social media at Harry Terjanian, TikTok, the whole deal.
There you go. So again, go follow Harry, go support, and be there this Saturday if you would like to catch us both calling the action and calling a great card that will be Mount Olympus. This has been our preview here, ladies and gentlemen. Harry, thank you again so much for joining me. It has been it's been okay. It's been an okay night. I think if we can remain like this on Saturday, I think it'll be perfectly fine.
Listen, I know you have to do that to try to take me down a peg. It's been more than okay. It's been more than okay. It pains you to admit that when I'm on this show, it's a breeze for you. It pains you to admit that, but that's fine. Again, this is what I'm talking about. Thankless efforts. I bring the entertainment value wherever I go. And, you know, I will be bringing that entertainment value. So will you. You'll be next to me at the Mount Olympus Rumble. If you can't make it out, if you're not from the local area, maybe you'll see it later on. But if you're in the New Jersey area, the tri-state area, you're going to want to make it down to Toms River, New Jersey, the St. Barbara Athletic Center for the Mount Olympus Rumble, Saturday, November 16th. It's going to be a phenomenal event and a phenomenal match with the Mount Olympus Rumble match. And, you know, right now there's a deal happening for $10. That's not going to stay that way forever. You better jump on that.
Definitely so.
Yeah. So you're not going to want to miss this. It's Titan Championship Wrestling. It's one of the best independent companies in this country and maybe the top independent company on the East Coast, as far as I'm concerned. It's a phenomenal show. You're not going to want to miss it. That's all
Definitely
I have to
say. And of course, the HR department has to bring. We were already signing off, Marlon. You could have just let it go.
Yeah, I caught it, Marlon. I caught it. Did we address the labeling? I addressed it. I caught it. Ray, I don't know if his inner monologue slipped out, whatever it is, but I expect nothing less from a troublemaker, Ray Sanchez.
But you know what? Again, we're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna
Sanchez. That's what I call you, TM Sanchez, real troublemaker. But that's all right. You can, you know, I know you're gonna have a front row seat. That's the best part about knowing that you're gonna do the play-by-play with me. It's not just that I have to endure whatever you're going to talk about. You are a good play-by-play guy. I'm not going to take that away from you. You annoy the hell out of me, but you know how to do that portion of your job. But the most beautiful part is that when we end up winning the Mount Olympus Rumble, when we're successful, and when the Terjanian Talent Agency has the entire spotlight on them, you get to have a front row seat. That's all that matters to me. That's going to be the cherry on top of our big premiere at the Mount Olympus Rumble.
Understood. Again, like I said, I will remain as unbiased as I can. And again, if that's the case, I will be calling it like I see it. And it is very workplace friendly. What are you talking about, Marlon? But again, that is here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again so much for joining us. As always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people, respect the craft. And we'll see you guys on the next one. And we'll see you this Saturday for Mount Olympus. Peace, everybody.